Hi, all you hungry people out there. Welcome to Hungry Cat Daily with Nick and Lance, the podcast where we'll be recapping every Garfield comic from A to Z. My name is Nick Ramirez, and I'm here with my co-host, Lance Gilstrap.
Hi, Nick.
And today we're joined by a special guest, Michael Williams.
Hello, happy to be here.
Today we're recapping the comic strip from Sunday, June 25th, 1978. So it is one of those big comic strips, big and in color, large and in charge. And these have color. So Mike, do you want to kick us off by recapping the first panel?
Yeah, I would love to. So in this first panel, we have our hero Garfield, who's hanging out on what looks like his litter box, or maybe just just like maybe it's bed or something. Just like hanging out on this blue. Yeah, it looks like a little box or something, and that's what's he on? He's on.
Well, we've seen him on this thing before, but it's a box, but he's on top of it. Like it's not like a bed, right?
Is it like
I think it's supposed to be a bed.
But he's not inside of it. Well,
I agree.
There's no dip. It's almost like a foam board or something. Yeah. But this time it's in color, so it just kind of throws you off.
Well, they've all been.
Yeah. And Garfield is, probably dreaming because he has little thought bubbles, and Garfield's like, cats. ... So there's like more to come.
He's not saying
Oh no, that was my interpretation. Like his face, the way he's like smiling, like, yeah, he's definitely happy. He's glad that he's thinking or talking about, cats. Cats are on his mind.
He kind of looks like the Cheshire cat, that smile on his face from the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Yeah.
Looking Glass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to panel 2. Lance, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So Garfield is stepping off of his bed box. This is an interesting thing because I think, Nick, you made the observation from last week that the weekday ones are probably filled in with color later.
Yeah.
This one looks to have been originally colored. It just looks because the coloring looks different. What's interesting about this one is that the previous one, Mike didn't mention this, but the floor is like a peach colored salmon kind of. And then the wall is a sea green, maybe. And then in the second panel, the floor is sea green, the exact same color as the wall in the previous panel, and the wall is yellow. Garfield has taken one step off of his cat bed box, and he is still smiling. And he says, "We cats are intelligent, soft, cute, ... This one's also dated 6/25.
Okay, and then the next panel. So the background colors are all over the place at this point because now it's just a white void with like that kind of seafoam green, like an odd circle that Garfield is standing in.
Right, like it's a shadow.
Yeah. And Garfield is moving in a very odd way, where like his rear right leg and his front left leg are moving in tandem.
It's like Garfield's doing like a yoga pose or something.
Yeah.
Even his tail is up in a very strange way, like as though he's
like a periscope.
Or he's like working those tail muscles. But he does just look frozen. Like there's no, I guess maybe part of it, the weirdness is that there's no like motion lines in this, so it just looks like he's static in this pose. And again, he looks like a big orange beach ball. He's in his round pose.
Still very happy though. Like this cat's happy right now.
Well, that's the other thing. His face hasn't changed from the last panel to this one, and they look almost exactly the same. And he's thinking furry, cuddly, ... And I want to point out there's like an extra. There are extra little. I don't know what they're called, but little circles that connect the thought to his head.
Oh yeah.
There's way too many of them.
There's way more of them.
There's even one inside the thought bubble, which I've never seen before, or I've never noticed at least.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a lot. It's almost like if Garfield was underwater, it would make sense. Like it's like floating.
Because that's air coming out of his mouth.
It's like air thought.
So then, Mike, you want to take the next panel?
So then, yeah, just continuing on what Nick was saying, like Garfield just continuing with playful. So we're just listing off all these adjectives.
Yeah, and this is kind of seems like, so this is the first Sunday Garfield strip. And I think it's probably a lot of people's introduction to Garfield. A lot of people who only get the Sunday paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like maybe what we're getting here is going to be like the thesis of Garfield. Like he's describing all the things that cats are. And then maybe he's going to say, but not me, you know?
Yeah, you don't really know what's next, but you do kind of get a little foreshadowing that there's like a bunch of nails out, you know? It's like, I don't know, you don't really associate with like big nails from a cat as like playful. Like maybe from a cat's point of view.
You mean his claws?
His claws, yeah.
No, they're not just fingernails.
Fingernails?
I mean, to be fair, we're calling them hands and feet. Like,
cat paws.
So what's he doing in this one, Mike?
So like all of Garfield's feet and hands are like climbing up. And at this point, it kind of looks more like a tablecloth, because he's climbing on some of a cloth, some of a curtain, and he's like, "Yeah, playful," and you're like, "Oh, the claws are out." So see what happens.
Oh, interesting. So you think it's like a juxtaposition between the word "playful" and then the claws being out?
I think maybe because it's not like he's not playing around with yarn. You know, he's like, I think in Garfield, I think it's maybe a little hint at like the mischievousness coming out.
Yeah, it's maybe the mischievous. Mike, how would you describe the overall look of Garfield in this one?
I think he looks a little bit easier to look at than the past few days. I think like I don't know, like maybe it's he doesn't look as weird, or maybe I'm just used to it now. Like this one's not as scary. Maybe it's also because he's like smiling.
You think maybe that you've gotten used to the fact that he looks fucked up?
Yeah.
I think he looks like especially fucked up in this panel. Like the claws coming out, like that weird look. And again, I feel like as the series goes on, we see less of these strange poses. Like Garfield has like a few set positions that they just reuse, and right now we're getting like all kinds of ranges of motion that we don't get in the future.
So we get to the fifth panel. It's been I will point out in the last panel, Mike, you didn't call out this, but that's fine. But the wall again is yellow. But in this panel, he has now reached, the big reveal is what he was climbing was John's bed, because he was climbing something red, and now he's on John's bed, which has a red blanket, and the wall is returned to this seafoam green. Garfield's reached the top of John's bed. I will say that makes the previous panel weirder, because that means I've never seen a cat walk up to a bed and just attach claws at the bottom of the blanket and climb up. Like normally a cat is gonna at least get some kind of leap going or a run or something.
Yeah.
He just walks up to the bed, attaches his claws, and starts climbing.
Like Cliffhanger or something.
But I guess like Garfield's not in very good shape.
That's the thing, yeah.
So maybe it's like a hint.
Still seems like it'd be harder. I don't know. But so he's at the top. John's asleep. John's on his pillow. He's a side sleeper. He is on his left side. His hand is in front of him on the pillow. Don't know where the other hand is. His eyes are closed. He looks like he's peacefully at sleep. He's peacefully at sleep. Zooming in here, Garfield looks especially fucked up. It's kind of scary if you zoom in. His head is so gigantic. He's got these like dots inside him, which I think are just like the dots that you get in a comic. He's got a really dopey look on his face. He's smiling. His paw is on John. He looks like he's about to do something awful, and I'm not saying that because I saw the next panel. I'm saying that to just look on his face.
Yeah,
and he's.
Yeah, I agree. And like again, we just get more dots, more ellipses, and you're like, something's happening,
right? Because he's saying he's thinking the word demure.
Yeah, which is very like that's kind of high class for a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because it's like the 70s, people had bigger vocabularies back then.
Oh.
Like I can't imagine one of these newer comics, somebody saying demure.
No.
Like in maybe in 9 Chickweed Lane, but probably not in most comics. Okay. Are we done with that one, Lance?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So this next panel, this is the one where the action happens. And there's all kinds of motion lines all over this thing. Garfield is doing a handstand on John's neck. He's just like he's doing like a Homer Simpson kind of a thing, just choking the life out of John. And you see John has like 10 eyes now because of his head is being shaken so much. This is John's nose continues to be strange to me. It's like a line. Damn, I'm still not exactly sure what's going on with John's nose. I feel like I'm not doing a good job describing this one because I feel like there's so much going on here. Anyway, the main thrust of it is Garfield is strangling John in order to wake him up. And
like John's butt is huge in this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if that's his butt or if that's supposed to be his gut.
Oh. Yeah, that's weird.
But his feet are pointing the way where it would be like a huge butt.
Right, but then his head is pointing the other way.
Yeah, his head is like facing us.
But I guess Garfield is choking him, so he can't fully see that. No, you're right. It must be his butt. And we now get a clearer view of John's pajamas, which are the same color as Garfield, striped with white. Yeah, and Garfield's got a mean look on his face.
Yeah,
I think that is that a mean look. I think that that's a like I don't care look. Like this is just routine for me.
Oh, I thought it was at the very least like this is a serious situation kind of a
he
thing.
doesn't look happy. Yeah, he looks very intimidating. He lost his smile. He's had the smile the entire time, and now he's like that. It's gone.
Yeah. Okay. You want to take this last one, Mike?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about the previous frame though, is like there's like no words needed. Every other frame has some words, and this one's like you don't need any because you get it. It's such a visual expression of what's going on that yeah, it also like so we had ellipses and like some 3 dots, and we skip, and then in this last frame we kind of finish the thought. It's like, what is this comic about? What is this message? And the first thing your eye goes to is and masters of the house. So it's kind of like a thing of like, hey, I'm the cat, I'm here, Um, and yeah, look at John pouring food into Garfield's bowl. Garfield has him right where he wants it. And I was just gonna say that Garfield's back to like being really happy. John is doing what he wants. He's been obviously woken up, and yeah, he's feeding Garfield in the morning. Like he's waking him up either late at night or in the morning to feed him. So it's like we kind of know that Garfield has a regular eating schedule right now. Um, just from that, and that's like, yeah, it's a power display. It's a display of power.
And this is, yeah, what it is saying, Garfield is, he's the one in charge here, which I think that's kind of something we associate with Garfield. He's the top dog in the house. I is this the first time we've seen Well, we'll get to that later, but it's rare that we see Garfield eat cat food.
Right. And it's also canned cat food. So we know that he gets the wet cat food. Also, his cat bowl is huge. There's no wonder he's a big beach ball or tombstone. His cat bowl is large enough to have his name fully written in huge print. He could almost fit inside the cat bowl. It's so big, and the pile of food is gigantic. It looks like the size of a can you would use to feed a dog.
That's a really good call because the bowl is as big as like John's knee to his butt. So that's like
kind of butt obsessed.